best friends share? Everything.
What? No. That's not what she's really thinking. Hey guys, it's Legend Wings or Mackenzie back again with my friend Kaylee. And today we're bringing you 2 more chapters of this wonderful novel called Modelland. I say that quickly because I want this to be over with as fast as possible.
Almost done. We're almost done.
Last time, Creamy appeared, and it turned out Creamy was once part of Modelland.
Yep.
Her name was Lotta, and she was friends with the Belladonna.
And Persimmon, who they thought was going to be the next... 777.
And then she wasn't. And that Miracle's dress she wore was the one her mother wore. They just so happened to find it at a thrift shop.
Which is weird.
I'm like, no. A lot of things in the stories are unbelievable, but that's probably highest up there.
So yeah. Alright, let's get started.
Let's dive right into it. Chapter 43. Porcelain Living Dolls. All at once, they were whipped out of the flashback, back in the flashback female's room once more. The Belladonna and Creamy were staring at one another, their faces 2 inches apart. LaDonna, Creamy hissed.
What?
This is his name. His name. Hang on a second. I'm trying to say it as serious as possible. It's not going to happen. Cream a lot of deffa cake. The Belladonna. Cream a lot of deffa cake.
It sounds like defecate!
It does, and I'm sure that's on purpose. Oh. Tookie widened her eyes, hardly believing what she was hearing.
That's worse than, like, Richard Small!
So bad! Cream-a-lotta and defecate? Disgusting. So at least she gets it,
okay,
too.
so at least she gets it, and it wasn't just, like, an unfortunate accident.
What is with these names? What is with these names?
She's high on something. I don't know.
Everybody's high when they're naming their kids. This is just like...
It's like the novel, it's like, it sounds like it's supposed to be satire, but from everything I can tell, I don't think Tyra meant it to be satire, so...
There's no way. It's satirical. It'd probably be more enjoyable if we knew it was. It'd be really good if we knew it was all satire, but we know it's not satire.
But the way,
it's horrible.
because the way that I've heard Tyra, like, this thing she said about it, I don't think it's meant to be satirical.
She's dead serious.
I think it's supposed to, like, have a humorous, like, way to touch on problems and topics from, like, the modeling industry, but I don't think it's supposed to be satire itself.
I don't like her name at all.
No.
For the sake of, I feel like Defecate's there to make a joke, and it serves no other purpose to her character. It doesn't tell us. And then the fact that her first name is now Cremalata, so when she married her husband, she's Cremalata De La Crème. And I'm just like, it's just
she could have just been like cream.
Basically, you might as well be cream or twig, stick.
Twig branch.
Yep. It's so dumb. Can't we just have normal names? You could still have a fantasy world.
That's it. That's just like the
somebody be Bev and somebody be Joe, please. Stop being Bev Joe, though. Anywho, Tyra, stop being creative. It's not good for you.
I remember there was one point where we congratulated someone for having a normal name. And I don't know if it was Bev Joe or not. But yeah, it just happens so rarely.
Jillian and Piper are really the only 2 I can think of that I'm like, those are, like, I can picture girls with that name. Yeah, girls have those names. They're a little uncommon, but girls have those names. That's fine. Everybody else?
Not so much.
It very much feels like she's just like, oh, I like the way this sounds, or this sounds fancy. It wasn't like a...
Or this sounds dumb. We're going to use this.
Yeah, or it sounds
silly.
It sounds bad or silly, so I'm going to use that.
Yeah, so.
There wasn't a whole lot of thought process past that point. It's very shallow. She stared at her mother. Why didn't you tell me any of this? Why didn't you ever tell me you were but Bella here? Creamy just shrugged. Oh, whatever, Tookie. It's one minor detail of my life I just left out. Get over it. C.L. sniffed with disdain. You're telling Tookie to just get over it? That's rich, considering it's obviously something you're clearly still seething about. Tookie's mind continued to spin. Creamy, is this how you knew so much about Modelland? Is this how you knew Miracle was going to get chosen? Daughters of
Probably.
Stop explaining stuff, Tookie. Daughters of Intoxibellas had almost a 100% chance of getting into Modelland. Well, you're also a daughter of hers. So...
Yep.
Just saying. After all, higher than the chances of Smize finders. Yeah, duh, it's 100% chance. That's higher than all the other percents.
Like, this is basic math. They can't even, like...
This is so bad. You just had to leave it at, had almost 100% chance of getting in. And not, after all, it was higher than all the chances of the Smize. Yeah, we know it's higher than any of the other chances you had. Anyway, before her mother could answer, the flashback females looked at everyone, communicating without moving their mouths. We're going back in, everyone, to a different flashback now. Hold on.
Wait, why'd you even break that up then?
I don't know. It makes no sense.
You could still yell at the people while you're in the vision.
Yep.
Because it's been established you can communicate with people.
Yep. So we broke out of it for no reason. We're just wasting explanation time.
Yep.
There was a whoosh, and the tingling feeling gripped Tookie once more. When the pulling sensation abated, the group had landed backstage at a busy fashion show. Magical disembodied hands flitted around LaDonna and the other Bellas, dressing them in feathery frocks of red, black, and orange. Percy's dress was so elaborate that twice the number of hands swirled around her, getting her dressed. Mannequins fluffed their hair and did final touches on their makeup. It was clear without anyone having to say anything that Percy was the star. LaDonna peered through a curtain, then gestured for someone to come forward. It's okay, she whispered. Drop off the stuff and work next to me. We're safe back here. A warm-skinned man, handsome in an approachable, non-bestastro kind of way, rolled in an enormous crate on wheels and began to unload it. His strong muscles flexed. Magical hands scurried over and began to rummage through the items he'd unpacked. Gracefully and secretly, the man reached for LaDonna's pinky and quickly spun her around. LaDonna giggled. Cremalata, Percy, this is him, the first and only love of my life. Holy hell, C.L. blurted out, watching the flashback. The Belladonna was dating a civilian? You're kidding me! Be quiet, the present-day Belladonna shrieked. She stared at the man in the flashback with a devastated look on her face. Meanwhile, the young Bellas in the memory greeted LaDonna's bow. She told us so much about you, Percy said brightly, her whole face a smile. Anyone who makes LaDonna happy makes me happy. LaDonna's told me about you, too, the man said, bowing kindly to Percy. She says you have the chance to be a rare 777. Percy ducked her head modestly. Let's hope so. Cremalata just stared darkly at the boyfriend, then pulled LaDonna aside. I can't let you do this, she hissed to her friend. It's one thing if you were going after a bestastro, but he's against the rules. LaDonna waved her hand. I am so tired of rules. Every day my mom comes down on me about some old or new rule I'm not following. The pressure is eating me alive. I think those rules are simply to punish us. What rules? Tookie whispered to C.L. The cardinal rule at Modelland is that a Bella cannot date a civilian. C.L. rubbed her palms together. This is priceless. Methinks Miss Belladonna will think twice before lambasting me about going off message.
What?
About going off message.
I still don't understand. She will...
You think about lambasting me about going off message? I think because she's breaking rules. So, Now that I know that she used to break the rules all willy-nilly.
Bombast anymore.
Yeah. Stop berating me about breaking rules when she's breaking rules all the time. Or she used to.
I've never heard that word.
That's my best guess. I don't know what it means.
I'm assuming that's what it means by context clues.
Based off of the sounds and the context clues, yeah. 1 minute to the start of the show, a fashion assistant in the flashback called from the edge of the curtain. Percy, you're first. Best Go-See-Go model leads the show. LaDonna, you're second. LaDonna turned away from Cremalata and clutched her beau's hand. She hid their interlocked fingers behind a large clutch purse she had in her other hand. Nervously, she began to hum a lullaby. Oh, thank God. I was preparing to flip the page and have to read a lullaby, and it's not there. You'll be wonderful, darling, the man whispered. Yeah?
No, never mind. I'm not sure. Go on.
He nervously glanced around and then started to dance with her in time with her humming. His movements were utterly graceful, his body one long, sinuous muscle. And have I ever told you that you have the voice of an angel? It's even more beautiful than that breathtaking face of yours. Yes, you tell me that every time I see you, LaDonna swooned. That's why I love to sing for you. She raised the clutch higher, now, hiding their passionate kiss. LaDonna and Percy skipped away toward the front of the fashion show lineup. As soon as the music began, Percy gracefully ran onto the runway, employing all her runaway skills. Only Cremalata remained behind, still getting dressed by the magical moving hands. As the hands stripped her down to her underwear, she fluttered her eyelashes at LaDonna's love. Hey there, she purred to him. You know dating LaDonna is wrong, don't you? The man looked away, seeming uncomfortable at staring directly at Cremalata and her overt semi-nakedness. It's just a lot of overt semi-nakedness. Just a bunch of stupid rules, he murmured in a deep voice. I like breaking rules too. Cremalata edged closer to him, trapping him against the wall. The magical hands followed her, pulling at her bra straps. In seconds, she would be topless. I don't like this at all either. I suppose, the boyfriend said. He hopped up on a low beam that surrounded the backstage area to get away from her. His balance was perfect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was feeling that too.
Yep. Because he's gone so long
without a name. It's like, it's going to be another 3 paragraphs, because I promise I haven't looked. But Tuki's going to go, oh my god, it's my dad!
I'm curious to see how that's going to happen, because how would you not have recognized? Well,
Tuki's
never
stupid.
mind. Yeah, then again, like, your parents look a lot different when they're younger.
They do, but I feel
There's
like...
one time I looked at a picture of my dad with a beard, and I didn't recognize him at first. I was like, who's that? That's not dad. What do you mean that's dad? No, it's
okay,
not.
that's fair, I guess. But I'm just... I know it's not even... It's basically because Tyra wants to build suspense. Who is this mysterious man? It's Tuki's dad. It's plot contrivance and stupid, and...
I'm not so upset about this part if it wouldn't have been so obvious based on, like, everything else. Well, never mind. I don't know. It's just so, like, obvious.
It's just...
I don't know if...
It's just icky. It's icky all around. It's icky from all
I wouldn't be so... yeah, it's just icky of that Creamy's stealing him away from...
It's just further proof
LaDonna, where that's not cool.
It's just further proof that Creamy's an awful person. And I think in her mind, she's coming from the place of, if I do this and I get in trouble with him, then I'll get taken away, but she can stay here and then continue to be successful. So she's thinking she's sacrificing herself in this way.
Or if we're going for a not quite as, like, heroic version of Creamy, it could also be... What you want to bet that he's not the guy you think, and that anyone can tempt him away. But she ends up with him, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's also not cool, because that also makes her seem like she's trying to be like, you know, we're going to give LaDonna a chance. And I'll take the fall for this. So, I don't know. Let's just find out. It's gonna be Tuki's dad.
Yeah, but let's just get a name confirmation to be sure.
I was trying to figure out if, like, well, like, what if, like, Tookie was actually, like, LaDonna's daughter, and, like, it was actually, like, Mr. De La Crème and, LaDonna were, like, her parents, but I'm like, but that, I don't think that'll work. I don't think there's a way that would work, because...
Maybe still. We mustn't give up hope.
But, like, Tookie also looks it's established she doesn't really look like her dad. And she doesn't look like the Belladonna.
I don't think she looks like Creamy either, though.
That's true. She doesn't look like Creamy.
As far as we can tell.
As far as we can tell. Then again, we just found out that Creamy's got, like, the brown hair.
Yeah.
Which I guess I've kind of, like, pictured her with dark hair, but you pictured her with, like, blonde hair, like Miracle.
So obviously it wasn't established in a way that we were supposed to remember it.
I was like, well, maybe that could, because, like, I was like, what if, what if Creamy's power was, like, the seduction or whatever, where she could make anyone fall in love with her, and then if, say, like, she stopped doing that, or it's not as powerful now that she's not Bella, like, what if, like, Tookie's dad, like, that's why, like, they're going through all these problems, but he kind of, like, is starting to realize, I never actually truly, legitly loved you. Mm-hmm. It's like, what if it was something like that? But I don't know.
This is all sorts of messed up.
I think that would be more interesting. I'm hoping that it's that, but I don't know.
Let's see. Creamolata reached out and touched his cheek. He flinched at first, but then she innocently pulled away. You hit an eyelash, she said, holding it on the tip of her finger. Then she blew on it, sending the lash flying. I made a wish. Want to guess what it was? Oh, that mother of yours is trouble, Elmer muttered. Damn right she's trouble, present-day Belladonna screamed from the sidelines. The scene whooshed again, and once more everyone was transported to the Modelland grounds. The old grounds. They were still caught in the flashback. Tookie and the others followed young Percy into the deep. A terrible animal wail rang out. Percy ran toward the sound, and Tookie and the others watched the flashback follow. And the others watching the flashback followed her into the D's bathroom. Percy locked the main bathroom door, ran to the last stall door, and peered under it. There was a pair of knees on the floor. Someone was throwing up. Now we're doing like, oh, look at the same things happened to you as the same things happened to us kind of thing, I think.
I don't think that's what this is.
I think it's that chicken you chowed in the LaDonna, Percy whispered through the door. You'll feel better soon. Why don't you try singing? That always cures your aches and pains. The girl on the other side of the stall just groaned again. Then the knees rose from the ground and the girl slumped onto the toilet. Tookie could practically feel her pain. She'd had a similar reaction to her chocolate binge, which was why she couldn't have the tiniest taste of the stuff anymore. After a moment, there was a large splash in the porcelain. Suddenly, a small, piercing cry rang out, but it wasn't the sickened cry of a young woman wrecked from tainted food. It was the cry of a tiny baby emerging into the world. Did you just call this?
Yep, I think I did. Let's see. Maybe. Did it say who that she's comforting? Does it say who she's comforting? Or who's, like, throwing up or having a baby?
So LaDonna.
Okay.
LaDonna had a baby.
Wait. So maybe she wasn't really throwing up, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know that Tyra at this point understood how childbirth worked. So I think she was just trying to think of the most dramatic thing that could be happening at this point. And
I mean, like, I don't have, like, this personal experience or anything, but I've heard from all sources that childbirth is unpleasant. Maybe people throw up from pain.
I mean, I don't doubt that. It's just
that would also just doubly suck.
It's just I don't know.
But maybe maybe Tookie's got wrong. Or maybe they've all got it wrong that she wasn't actually throwing up either. But I don't know. But anyway, so someone just had a baby.
Someone just had a baby in the toilet,
and we're assuming it's LaDonna.
Yeah,
the Belladonna.
See Tilda L's eyes widened. You are kidding me. A booming knock sounded on the bathroom door. Why is this door locked? An angry voice yelled. LaDonna, are you in there? It's the Queen Belladonna, your mother. Ooh. Open up. Surprise your grandma now. Both figures in the bathroom froze. Looking frantic, Percy wrenched the stall door open and stared at the two figures inside, which meant everyone else watching the flashback got a look as well. A tiny pale baby lay in LaDonna's arms. It had the perfect face of an angel. Its skin, the color of a fluffy spring lamb, was covered with streaks of blood. Oh my God, LaDonna, what just... how? Percy muttered.
Well, when a man loves a woman...
They take all their periods away. Is this like...
They can still have children, they established that, even without having periods, which... Not how that works, but okay.
I was just wondering if the no period/cycles rule was something that Belladonna came up with after she had gotten pregnant and had a baby.
No, it said that you... Actually, how did that go? It said that they could still have a baby, like, later on. Yeah. I don't know if it was supposed to be, like, you can, like, pause, like, your fertility? I don't know. Also, my question is, how would you not know? Is it also, like, how they just magically get rid of periods?
Like, she magically
Is it also, like, you magically, like, don't have any, like, signs that you're gonna have a baby? How would you hide that if you're a model? You would get fat. Because there's a child growing inside you.
I mean, there are those really rare stories of people not knowing they were pregnant, but
lots of the time, and those people are a little bit, like, heavier, too, where, like, maybe you wouldn't notice it as much. Like, if you're, like, a twig, like a model, you would notice it. At least a bit. So maybe they just magically get rid of that, or maybe she's been completely, like, fooling everyone with her appearance of how she looks.
Maybe that's a possibility, too.
I don't know. It's a lawless land. It's a lawless land. I don't know how this magic works.
World.
Let's see if it explains it.
Percy muttered, her face softening. Wow, look at those bright gray eyes. LaDonna stared at the child, too, clearly shocked that it had just come out of her. I don't know how, she whispered. Then she looked imploringly at Percy. Oh my God, help me. What do I do? Shh, Percy said.
So it kind of sounds like she had no clue either.
Yeah.
So, again, does it get rid of, like, not just, like, you just magically don't have a period anymore. You just also magically don't know if you're pregnant.
You don't have any symptoms, maybe.
Where is the child?
You'd think you'd see that somebody...
Wouldn't you feel like the baby moving?
Not always. If they're towards the back or if it's setting a certain way, you might not feel them. So...
Because it sounds like LaDonna had no clue. So she probably had, like... She probably didn't gain any weight, probably didn't have any, like, sickness or anything, and, well, maybe not, but I don't know, like, I have so many questions about the logistics of this.
It's just...
surprise baby.
Surprise, ta-da! Shh, Percy said. She grabbed the baby. We'll figure something out.
She pawn it off on Creamy.
She removed the cintura from her waist and gingerly wrapped the baby in the yellow fabric. The tiny thing cooed, comforted by the cintura's warm embrace. Boom! The door to the bathroom burst open. The Queen Belladonna stalked across the tile, making a beeline for the last stall. She stared hard at Percy, then reached out her arms. Give LaDonna's child to me.
Oh, so she knows! Oh dear.
Percy started to tremble, but she did not hand the baby over. There was a determined look in her eyes. LaDonna cowered behind Percy.
She's gonna make the child ugly.
Oh, good God.
The Belladonna is gonna be so pissed that she's gonna make the baby that looks so angelic ugly, and it's gonna be Tookie.
Are we totally gonna get like a, I've removed this curse from you, Tookie, and then she's just gonna be beautiful?
No, I hope not. I really hope that's not the case. I like this path that it was the surprise I was hoping for. It's more interesting than it just being like, look, Creamy's your mom.
Yeah.
No, this is much more interesting.
Yep. But Mother, how did you know I was... Even I didn't know. I just thought I was sick. We don't get periods here. So how did you know? I didn't even show. So just explaining stuff without explaining
so many
things.
questions about this, but...
The Queen Belladonna craned her neck to glare at her daughter. A mother always knows, she said icily. Then she shook her head.
Gosh, LaDonna's probably been walking around being like, yeah, I have this weird, like, morning sickness and, like, giving, like, all these other, like, symptoms of, like, pregnancy or something. And Mom's just probably like,
oh, shoot. This is from the common civilian, isn't it? That man in Ladorno. Madonna's mouth dropped open. He is not common. I'm in love with him. What? The Queen Belladonna sucked her teeth. You love him? LaDonna, there's no room for love here at Modelland. Not
Ouch.
here, not now, not ever. Do you hear me? Then the Queen Belladonna grabbed the baby from Percy's weak arms, leering at it as though it were made of bile. Tears ran silently down LaDonna's cheeks. What are you going to do with my baby? I will give the child to its father. LaDonna's mother held the baby at arm's length. He will raise it. As for you, she turned to Percy, how dare you try to hide this from me?
and so she's made into a mannequin.
And you wrap the baby in your sacred centura? Persimmon, your time at Modelland is now officially over. I am sending you back to where you came from, right now. Percy's normally sunny expression turned to one of horror. No, she shrieked. Please don't make me go home. I can't go back to that cult of... I hate these names. Persecution. I hate this so much! This is so dumb! I'm reading it and I'm like...
How bad was this town that is literally named Persecution?
But like, look at it, I'm like, persecution. So
Just call it like, I don't know, like Smallville or something. Just give it a normal name. No one cares what it is. We can get the context from Percy. She doesn't want to go, and it's not good.
Never heard of this place before. Its name does not matter to us other than Tyra's making a pun right now, and it's not funny anymore. Like, I laughed, but because it was so bad, I had to save myself from groaning. Queen Belladonna shrugged. Well, you are aware of what your only other option is. Is it what you wish? Percy glanced at LaDonna as though waiting for her to explain what had happened. But LaDonna just continued to sob on the cold tile floor. Wilting, Percy turned back to the Queen Belladonna and quietly murmured, But I didn't even know she was Quiet! The Queen Belladonna shrieked. Is it what you wish? A single tear formed at the corner of Percy's eye. It is what I wish, she whispered. Old Creamy's voice sliced through the flashback. LaDonna, you ruined Percy's life by making her a part of your problems. Percy was the #1 Bella in our class. Better than all of us. A potential 777. You could have told your mother that Percy was innocent. You could have begged your mother to spare her. But what did you do? Thought only of yourself.
I think she was more just in shock that she had a surprise baby. Her mother's furious.
But, like, you imagine all the blood loss you'd have, and that you didn't have a baby in a hospital.
And she's
with, like,
probably in awful pain, or at least was,
Yeah.
and didn't know what the hell was wrong.
She's full
and
of
poor Percy
hormones.
just panicked, and was just like, wrap the baby up, wrap the baby up.
Yeah, keep the baby warm.
First thing to do that I can grab.
Oh, jeez.
Well, so the previous Belladonna was just
Worse than
evil.
this one, apparently.
Yeah.
So far. Defecate, do not try to pin this crap on me, the Belladonna yelled back. Percy could have left Modelland forever and been free and kept her looks. Her fate was her choice. I had no choice, a third voice rang out. Tookie looked up and saw Mannequin Persimmon cowering in the corner. Tears streamed down her face. I couldn't have left, she wailed. And then she stood, marched over, and loomed right in the face of her old Bella mate. LaDonna, you know where I come from, and you know I couldn't go back there. Spit flew out of her mouth as she spoke. The Belladonna, usually unflappable, trembled. Moving on now, said the flashback females in unison. Thanks for letting us know, guys. Just continue the scene. You don't need to let us know that we're departing. The scene shifted abruptly, sweeping everyone into a quaint village that looked eerily familiar to Tookie. Cobblestones lined the streets. A windmill gently rotated in the sweltering breeze. Church bells sounded, and a man in a white chef's jacket unrolled the awning of his bakery. The air was torrid, baking their skin and drying out their mouths. This looked exactly like the... I hate words I don't know. Bucolic? Bucolic?
Bucolic? I don't know what it means.
I'm rolling with it. Bucolic environment on the Uaz walls when Tookie and the others had first come in. LaDonna's boyfriend opened the door of a small, quaint shop and stepped out onto the porch. Beads of sweat... What?
Bucolic.
Idyllically rustic.
So a charmingly rustic.
Charmingly rustic.
So
place.
in a way of saying rustic.
It was rustic.
Like a clean rustic, but a rustic.
It was alright. It was rustic, but it was alright.
But it wasn't bad rustic. It was an okay rustic.
Idyllically. Beads of sweat dotted his forehead. A statue of the Queen Belladonna stood on the stoop, a stone basket at its feet. Boyfriend stared into the basket at the tiny creature inside, slowly shaking his head. Then, gracefully, he swooped down as though he was about to do a handstand and took the baby in his arms. Suddenly, Tookie had a terrifying epiphany. The acrobatics.
It took you long enough!
She's at her own, probably flipping. She's at her own village. She's probably at her own house. And she's like, wait a sec. Oh my god, it's me! Tookie, honey. Honey. I know this is all startling revelation to you. I would have caught on real quick.
I mean, on the other hand, she's probably also like, can't be me. It's LaDonna's baby. It's LaDonna's baby. Wait a second. That's probably how my dad looked when he was younger.
The acrobatics, the grace, how he'd spun LaDonna around at the fashion show so effortlessly. Was it possible? Really possible?
Yep.
That this was Chris Creme-Crobat? Her father? He turned away from the... So she still doesn't get that it's her as a baby. He turned away from the door, pulled out an object from a low shelf on his wall, and gingerly placed the baby inside. Curious, Tookie walked deeper into the room and waited for her vision to adjust. When it did, she saw a huge space full of leather, buttons, soles, laces, and shoes on every surface. She crept up close to the baby in the memory. The little bed the man had just laid her in was made of taut leather. An oval-shaped piece draped over the baby's body like a blanket. There you go, little one, the father whispered. The father. This is your father. Don't call it the father. It is your father.
He's taking this very well.
Maybe you can cheer the sad sap up. There's quite a light that shines inside you. Quite a light indeed. A strange feeling came over Tookie. Wait a minute. The baby was cradled in a shoe. Oh, whoa, wait.
Now I'm kind of thinking, like, wait, could Wingtip be related or something?
And she knew that shoe. I know that man. The Belladonna's boyfriend, the father of her child, wasn't Chris Creme-Crobat. He was Wingtip.
Wait. What? Wait.
What?
Hang on, wait.
That was it possible that this was this Crobat? Wasn't Crobat. So that's why she didn't recognize him. The Belladonna's boyfriend was Wingtip, the guy who had a one-off line in the beginning, and Tookie might as well have flipped a middle finger because she called him crazy straight to his face.
Now I'm just even more confused because this makes less sense.
It makes way less sense.
Also, because Creamy would have recognized him, right? When she saw him, when Tookie was talking to him. And I feel like she would have had even more of a reason to freak out more than she did
Uh-huh.
and be like, do not ever talk to this man again or ask any questions.
Now I'm
Maybe.
just like...
Wait, but so then why do we have the acrobat thing red herring? Why do we have the acrobatic red herring thing?
I hate this so much. Like, I 100% fell for it because it's stupid that it's anything but what we expected. Like, it should have been the thing that we were reading into.
Although, on the other hand, we just complained that it was too obvious, but it really wasn't. So I'll give it that, but I would have liked 1 or 2 other hints.
Like, let's talk about Wingtip one other time in the book and not just the one-off meeting of him. There's like, follow your dreams, and she's like, my mom says you're a weirdo. It was literally their conversation, at least what I remember from it.
Okay, I'm not sure how I feel about. I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that it's Wingtip. Is this even Tookie?
Let's find out.
Because the baby looks nothing
like
Tookie. And okay, because this also then gets rid of the fact that so now it's not Chris Cream Crobat.
I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is
So
going on.
what the heck happens that makes Creamy leave and find Chris Cream Crobat?
Like, has Creamy already left? That's my question. And why isn't Creamy in the scene as well? Like, had she already gone home and not been part of Modelland at this point? Because if that's... I'm like, well, maybe it's Miracle, but I don't think it is.
Nah, I don't think it's Miracle either.
Let's...
Because Creamy was there also yelling at LaDonna or whatever her face is about Persimmon.
Let's just keep going. I need to figure out what's going on to try to get my sanity back.
Now I'm so confused. And I appreciate the fact that it wasn't obvious like we thought.
But the red herring was like...
The red herring also kind of annoyed me. Because it's just so obvious it's supposed to be Crumb Crobat that you're like, but it's not.
Like, you're like, he does
without, like,
acrobats and balance and shit. And then it's like...
Without any clues that it could be Wingtip until you... Although it describes the other cabin, or the place, like the windmill and whatever, that's definitely not where, like, Tookie grew up, so... We get the hint there that it's not... He's gotta be related somehow, right? He's gotta be related. I don't even know. We're just gonna have to get through it.
Everyone was whooshed out of the flashback once more. Oh, by the way, end break. Returning to the ooh-ah. Yeah, like we left off on that dramatic thing. We're gonna end break it. Whatever. Muffled sounds from the 7-7 stadium boomed through the walls.
So they're back.
Tookie stared at her mother, reeling from what she'd just seen. You always told me to stay away from that man, Creamy. To not make eye contact. But you knew him all along? See, Tilda clucked her tongue. I see how it works. You tell Tookie to make no eye contact with the man, even though that's exactly the opposite of what you used to do. Creamy scoffed and looked away. That man is disgusting and has always been. That man has a name, and you know it, the belladonna shrieked. It's Ray Faye. Okay.
Alright.
I was expecting a pun.
It could be worse.
It could be a pun, and I just don't understand. It probably is a pun.
It is a pun because it sounds like Ray Faye. It's just stupid. It's like dumb. So rhymey. I don't like it.
Moving on. We're entering another flashback now.
Why are you leaping out of flashbacks if they can talk and say all these things in one flashback? Why is there an M break when you didn't use an M break before?
This is so dumb. You just wanted 2 sentences to remind everybody, like, by the way, this thing is going on concurrently. Like,
why would you leave out of the flashback? Just be like, the scene changed once again.
Because it does change in between, and sometimes it leaps back so that characters can have dialogue that could happen in these scenes.
Breaks like the M break that they use here are supposed to be used to show a either large shift in time or who's speaking, not just, oh, it's a new flashback. big revelation, cliffhanger. No, that's not how they're used. That is not how they're supposed to be used.
Tyra, you're the worst. I was hoping we were moving on with the story, but we're getting another flashback.
Again, the editors just like gave up. They just gave up. It was like, we can't convince you to use like these the correct way. We don't know how.
I hate when we get explanations like this where it's just dozens of pages. It's like, and here's exactly what happened in the past, word for word. All the stuff you need to know right now.
Let's see what the other flashback is, and then once we're done with flashbacks, let's see how easy it would be to just condense this.
Okay. We're entering another flashback now, one of the females interrupted. Then she glanced at Tookie. Some of your questions just might be answered. And with a swoop, they were all back in Modelland of the past. The summer sun hung high in the sky. Bella streamed around the courtyard, and the air had the same frenzied, expectant vibe to it as it did today. 3 more days, a green uniformed Bella said to her friend as she passed. Who do you think the 7 are going to be this year? Then Tookie noticed Cremalata and LaDonna standing at the base of the grand wall that surrounded the school. In this flashback, LaDonna looked pale and much thinner. I can't sleep, she was moaning. I can't eat. I can't think. I'm making myself sick. She looked at Cremalata with hollow eyes. I have to see my baby now. I can't wait. But the tournament is only 3 days away, LaDonna, Cremalata urged. Then you'll become an Intoxibella, and you'll be able to see the baby, and Ray, in secret all the time. 3 days is too long, LaDonna moaned, wringing her hands. And anyway, I can't compete in the tournament feeling weak and sick like this. If I drop out or mess up, you know that's it for me. It doesn't matter who my mother is. If I can just see the baby for a quick second, I'll feel better and strong. I'm nervous to go see the baby by myself, though. Come with me? Please, Lada? You'll be back so fast no one will ever know. Cremalata stared apprehensively at the wall. What about the aging barrier? I'm royalty, remember? LaDonna insisted. I can get it reversed. And wow.
Yes, because you have shown that you have so much sway over your mother and what decisions she makes.
Rip.
Why can't you just then reverse what happened to Persimmon? Or just be like, hey, I actually would like to keep the baby. Mom, don't send it away. But
it's also dumb.
So, I don't know why the hell she thinks that she'll be able to get the aging thing reversed if she couldn't do either of those other things.
I can get it reversed. And we'll return in plenty of time for you to primp and put on the gorgeous brand new 7/7 tournament jerk dress of yours, I promise. Okay, Cremalata said. With that, the girl scaled the wall and jumped over into the diabolical divide. That all happened very quickly with no consequence. They took 2 steps and snap! Their skin dried and wrinkled, their hair sprouted tufts of gray. Cremalata's cheeks shriveled like a raisin. She looked much more like the creamy Tookie knew. Even though, yes, this doesn't get reversed.
No.
Even though Tookie knew what to expect from having watched Desperado's escape, the transformation was harrowing and unsettling. After all, this time it was happening to her mother. Cremalata felt her puckered face and screamed, LaDonna, do your royal thing! Make us young again! But LaDonna continued through the brush. Lada, I got you. Don't worry. Let's just get through the divide first. It's deadly, so we gotta keep moving. Thanks.
How does LaDonna... That's her name right. How does LaDonna know the way through the diabolical divide? Also, why did Tookie and her friends not experience any sort of aging thing if it's kind of established that it's just once you step outside the wall? Or maybe it's...
They didn't scale the wall, though.
Maybe then it's the act of actually, like, climbing over the wall.
I'm thinking. It's not actually leaving Modelland, it's climbing the wall, it's the barrier. But because they use the zip-zap, they kind of teleported out of there, so I guess
because it's a lawless land and
it's a lawless land, and Tyra makes up whatever she feels like.
There are absolutely no consequences for their actions.
Nothing is a consequence. Do whatever you want. With a whoosh, the scene shifted back to the sweltering village where Ray Fay had his cobbler shop. In the wee hours of that same night, LaDonna and Cremalata were arriving at the front door of a house. As Tookie looked around, she spied a sparkling new state-of-the-art factory across the street. Several shiny delivery trucks were parked in a driveway. Bangles, baubles, and beads, the side panel said. Tookie's mouth fell open. It was B3, her old school, when it was a jewelry factory. No way, Tookie thought. Who knew the old dump had once looked so glorious? That thing got disheveled real fast.
Yeah, it did.
The sounds of a crying baby drifted under the door to the house. LaDonna rang the bell, then stepped back and peered at her aged face in the glass pane in the door, wincing at the sight. The door opened and Ray-Face stood before them, a baby cradled in his arms. He looked back and forth from girl to girl, stunned at their aged faces. Don't look at me, LaDonna blurted out, covering her face with her hands. I know I'm hideous, but I'll change back as soon as I go back to Modelland. Ray-Face lowered his shoulders. LaDonna, I don't care what you look like. I always told you that I love your voice more than your face anyway. How sweet. Now come inside where it's cooler. Our baby is missing Mama. LaDonna slipped through the door. Carmelita moved to go inside too, but Ray-Face gave her a sharp look and slammed the door in her face.
What? Wow!
Sometime later, the sun rose. LaDonna drifted out of the house. Ray, honey, I'm going to run out and get some formula. I'll be back in a sec. She groped her way out the door, seemingly having trouble with her eyesight. Damn age barrier, she muttered. I think it gave me temporary cataracts. After you cross the entire diabolical divide, you're now realizing you have cataracts.
How did they... Wait a second. How did they cross the entire diabolical divide in 3 days if it took Creamy and Miracle, like, a year to go through it? Can one of them teleport? Can they still use their air powers?
Kaylee, it wasn't 3 days. It was in the wee hours of that same night.
What?
Creamy and Miracle spent months in the divide.
It's a lawless land. It's a lawless land.
So dumb. I hate all of this so much.
One of them better have the powers of teleportation. Or teleportaling.
Moments later, just as LaDonna slipped out of sight, the wrinkly-faced Carmelita tiptoed up the steps and silently turned the doorknob. The door was unlocked.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, C. Tilda whispered. Carmelita crept through Ray's modest home, stepping over baby toys and books. She stopped when she got to the kitchen, hopped up on the counter, hiked up the bottom of her skirt to show some extra leg, and waited. LaDonna? Ray-Faye called from the bedroom. You back so soon? Yes, I'm in the kitchen, Carmelita called in a disguised, high-pitched voice. Ray's footsteps rang out in the hall. He entered the room holding the baby. As soon as he saw Carmelita on the counter, he stopped short and placed the baby in a small cushioned basket. Carmelita shot across the room, grabbed him by the collar, and threw him onto the kitchen table. She climbed on top of him and started to moan. I saw you looking at my body at that fashion show. You know you want this. A real girl, not some stiff royal one. Get off of me, you nasty-ass sick girl, Ray screamed. He struggled to escape from Carmelita's grasp, but Carmelita was surprisingly strong. He wriggled out from underneath her, but she kneed him in the groin. He howled in pain, and the baby started to wail. Carmelita planted her lips on Ray's neck. Her hands worked the buttons of his shirt until he was bare-chested. Tell me you love me. Please, 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 she murmured. The sagging skin on her face looked... Oh, that's right, she does look creepy as...
Is she seriously going to rape him?
I'm thinking she's attempting to rape him so that... I don't know. I don't get what the point is here.
I'm assuming she just wants, like, LaDonna to come back in and be and catch them and be like, you don't love me, and, like, go back and, like, forget about him. I'm assuming that's what she's trying to do. She is an awful friend!
Carmelita is the worst
she's
person
an
known in
awful
existence.
person! I mean, we've known this, but she's an awful person!
Do you still like her as a character?
No!
She's lost all, like, intrigue or development that she has. Everything's unraveled. She murmured, the sagging skin on her face looking jaundiced under the harsh kitchen lamp. Tell me I'm more beautiful than LaDonna. The front door slammed.
Uh-oh.
They don't have any formula, so I brought milk instead. LaDonna's happy trill sang out from the front room. I hope that's okay. I'll have you read this next part of this in the following chapter.
Get off me, Ray murmured quietly. He tried to push Creamolata away. Ray, honey, LaDonna called out, still oblivious. Where are you? Her footsteps came closer and closer to the kitchen. Suddenly, she was in the doorway. Ray! She screeched, squinting hard at the figures on the table. The glass milk jug slipped out of her hands and exploded on the floor, which made the baby scream even louder. Ray struggled beneath Creamolata, but he still couldn't budge her. LaDonna, sweetie, it's not what it looks like. She has me in some sort of deathlock. What? Creamolata screeched, suddenly letting her limbs go slack and rolling so that she was beneath him. You get off me! Ray scooted from beneath her. You just swapped.
They're just rolling. They're rolling across the table right now. Rolling, fighting for power.
Ray scooted from beneath her, raising his hands in surrender. She's crazy, LaDonna. I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, sure you don't, Creamolata screeched. Your girlfriend leaves for 2 minutes and you're all over someone else. What are you like when she's at Modelland? LaDonna moved very close to the two of them, trying to understand what was happening. Us too.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't get it
I'm assuming, again, that Creamy's just trying to break them up, so LaDonna will go back and just forget what happened, since no consequences! She shook her head at Ray. Yep, okay, so trying to understand what's happening. She shook her head at Ray. How could you? And to my best friend. Oh, no, honey, no, honey, she is an awful friend. Creamolata, I'm so sorry. You were right about him. I should have listened.
She obviously figures this out.
Yeah. Suddenly, there's a loud knock on the front door.
Oh, shit.
Modelland security, a voice boomed. Open up!
Y'all are screwed.
Everyone froze. LaDonna's eyes widened. Wheeling around, she grabbed and shushed the baby and ducked into the bathroom. Seconds later, the guards broke down Ray Faye's flimsy door. One guard strode straight to the bathroom and dragged LaDonna and the baby out of the shower stall.
Dang.
The other pinned Creamolata's arms behind her back. You two left Modelland without permission, the head guard said gruffly to the women. Usually we just leave your decrepit, wrinkled faces to rot. But since you're of royal descent, LaDonna, you must return to Modelland right now. All of you must. That means you too, sir. He glanced at Ray Faye, who was still shirtless in the middle of the room. You know it is forbidden for civilians to be involved with Bellas, a sick and punishable offense. What about our faces? Creamolata touched her puckered skin. What about turning them back, LaDonna? I promised you I'd get us turned back, and I will, she assured her friend. Once again, the group felt a pulling sensation, and Tookie, C, Tilda L, Creamy, and the Belladonna and Persimmon were whipped into another flashback. This time, LaDonna and Creamolata stood in the grand crystal hall of the board at Modelland. The Queen Belladonna, LaDonna's mother, stood and gravely shook her head. You broke one rule too many, LaDonna, she said. And this time, it was the ultimate rule.
Oh, man.
This is unacceptable. But because of your royal blood, you have a choice. You can leave Modelland and be with Mr. Faye and your child, or you can live together as a loving family. But you will have to relinquish all Modelland privileges.
All
never
right.
become an Intoxibella.
Okay.
And never see me again. And your face will remain aged.
Okay, but you were with the person you love, which is what you wanted anyway.
Right.
So...
Although now Creamy has screwed that up. Let's see.
That's true.
LaDonna held her child tightly in her arms, her bottom lip trembling. Ray Faye shifted his weight behind her. He reached out to hold her hand, but LaDonna smacked him away. Don't you dare touch me! Ray threw up his hands. LaDonna, sweetie, please give me a chance to explain. Or, the Belladonna went on, interrupting him, you can stay here in Modelland, have your youth restored, and become one of the 7-7 tomorrow, an Intoxibella. But you will never see your Ray again. You also can never admit that this baby is yours, and you will never see the child again. Never see my baby again? LaDonna repeated, horrified. Why can't I have both? She asked her mother. Why can't I have both my baby and my beauty?
'Cause life sucks, honey. You gotta make some tough choices. Get over it.
Her mother shook her head. Those are the rules. Make your choice.
These are the rules I just made up, honey.
Yep.
Go with it.
LaDonna looked from the baby to Ray to her mother to Creamolata. All sorts of conflicting emotions washed across her face. Finally, she sighed. I've made my choice. She slowly moved forward and handed the baby to her mother. You just left Modelland to go be with your baby. And also granted Ray. But your baby, who you wanted to see, that's what was making you, like, ill.
Your motherly instinct is what called you to be with that child. I don't care what this man did to you. I feel like most mothers put in that situation would have said, let me stay with the baby and work it out with this man, or I'll ditch him after the fact.
You could even take the baby, say the man is crap, and go live somewhere else with your child whom you love.
Yep. You don't have to stay with him if you think he cheated on you, which you didn't, but
still, you wouldn't even have to stay with him.
I find it really hard to believe. I mean, some people are disgusting like that and will turn away their own child. But that's as much as she fought to be with her own child. Mm-hmm. Who I'm now I'm like, is this Tookie? Is this
I'm just so confused now.
Because timelines seemed all screwy. So I'm going, is it C. Tilda instead? Or somebody else? I'm trying to think of who else it could be, because this seems like way before Tookie. Like, there's not a way for this feasibly fit in the timeline anymore. So who is this child?
Tookie and C. Tilda gasped. LaDonna's face instantly returned to its youthful splendor. She looked even more striking than before, as if her choice to relinquish her baby was a sacrifice that enhanced her loveliness.
I don't like that.
I feel like that's an awful message.
It's a horrible message.
It's a horrible message. I have one request, LaDonna said, her eyes lowered. I don't want him to raise my baby. She pointed at Ray. If he does, he'll raise a heartless child. Please, Mother. Please, please, please. Very well, then, the Queen Belladonna said. She turned to the guards. Get him far away from here. Security guards rushed in and grabbed Ray. He struggled against them. Get off me. This is my child, too. Please, please, don't do this to me, LaDonna. My life will be over. The Queen Belladonna just shrugged. You heard LaDonna, the love of your life. The child does not belong to you anymore. Ray's face crumpled. He planted his feet and fought to reach the tiny baby, but the guards dragged him away before he could give the child one last caress. His screams could be heard down the crystal corridor. What about me? Creamolata piped up. The Queen Belladonna gave her a cold, dark gaze. What about you? Go away. I'd never come back here again. You are an awful influence on my daughter.
Yes, you are.
Creamolata blinked so hard that her eyes disappeared into a bevy of wrinkles.
What?
But what about my youth? LaDonna, you promised you'd restore everything. That's why I agreed to go down the mountain with you. It's true, LaDonna said. She looked at her mother. Please, Mother, can't you return her to... No, the Queen Belladonna decreed, and that is final. She waved her hand, and security grabbed Creamolata. Creamolata glowered at LaDonna. You lying, selfish, royal bitch! You promised! Then her face turned eerily calm. Well, in that case, guess what, princess? Ray didn't wrong you. You wronged him.
Oh, bitch.
I jumped him.
Bitch.
I have no idea how he could resist me, but he did. He was fighting me off the whole time.
Oof.
LaDonna's jaw dropped.
Oof.
Her eyes searched Creamolata's face. But Creamolata, you're my best friend. Creamolata shrugged. I am, and best friends share everything.
What? No. That's not what she's really thinking. No. That's not her real motive, right?
Nope, I think she's just trying to piss off LaDonna.
I hope so.
I'm assuming at least it would make more sense for her to just be trying to, like, break them up, but now that's not what appears to be the case. I don't know what
she's trying to do anymore. I hate all of this.
LaDonna wheeled desperately toward the door of the grand hall. Ray, she screamed, her voice echoing. Ray, baby, are you still there? There was no answer. LaDonna turned to her mother. I've changed my mind. I want to be with him and my baby. I don't care about being an Intoxibella or about my face. You've already made your choice, the Queen Belladonna said stonily. You should have had better judgment in choosing your friends. She rose and handed the baby to a dead-eyed young mannequin. Seems the loyal one was the one you overlooked. Tookie looked at the mannequin, suddenly recognizing her. LaDonna let out a gasp, too. The mannequin was transformed Persimmon. Wait, didn't this happen already?
I think she agreed to it. I don't know that she was transformed before them.
Wait, so they still didn't try to stop that either?
No.
The surface of her once soft skin was now hardened plastic. Dark creases lined every joint of her body. Her energetic blue eyes had been replaced with black voids. Present-day Creamy shouted out to older mannequin Persimmon. Lord have mercy, Percy. Lord have mercy, Percy.
Lord
that queen bitch
mercy.
sure did curse thee.
What the heck?
Now you're just being mean. LaDonna sank to her knees in front of Percy. Wait, so it's... Yeah, present-day Creamy is the one that shouted out to... is the one shouting out to Persimmon. Yeah. So she's just being rude.
Okay, so that's who she is.
Yep. LaDonna sank to her knees in front of Percy. Percy, please, give my baby to me. You and I are best friends, remember? Percy just stared at LaDonna, her face betraying nothing. Oh, so now she's your best friend, the Queen Belladonna said icily. You should have stood up for her when you had the chance. It's too late.
Okay, but she just had a baby, like, come on.
Yeah, but she also had the time then in between where Percy's in the corner sobbing, like, you know I can't go back home. And LaDonna was more in her right mind. It's like, sorry, there's nothing I can do. So apparently she didn't even try to reason with her mother there either. Wow, they all just suck. All of them.
Sucky friends.
Except maybe Persimmon. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just being the helpful, actual, good best friend.
Yep. She got screwed over by your other friend.
Yep. You should have stood up for her when you had the chance. It's too late. Persimmon's loyalty is to the Belladonna, a throne now, LaDonna. LaDonna made a pained noise at the back of her throat and rushed for the baby, but her mother thrust out her arms to stop her. You have made your choice, my dear. You will go on to be a famous Intoxibella, and one day you will rule this land and be feared and adored by everyone in the world. You will uphold the principles of Modelland and redefine the face of beauty every 5 years. You chose correctly, LaDonna, and I know I will not see it, but I look forward to the day when you will be called Belladonna. What about my eyesight, LaDonna? I asked. I can hardly see a thing.
What?
The Queen Belladonna thought for a moment. I think I'll leave your sight as is, so you always remember what you've done. Your face as a future Intoxibella is for others to see and enjoy, after all, not you. And what about my baby? LaDonna screamed, pointing at her pale child. What will happen? Well, you should have thought about that before. Your baby will be safe, her mother said vaguely, but gone forever. You will never lay eyes on the child again. Please, LaDonna cried as Percy took the baby away. Let me hold my baby one last time. Just one more kiss. Oh, LaDonna, stop being so dramatic, the Queen Belladonna scolded. LaDonna sank to her knees as Percy vanished down the long hallway with her child in her arms. Give her back to me. Give me my... C-tilde!
I called it!
You did!
Last second, but I still called it.
I am more confused than ever!
It just, timeline, it stopped making sense. Because I'm like, Creamy would have had to already been married to De La Crème if that were Tookie.
Yeah.
And now it all makes absolutely no sense at all. Wow, she's just continuing the cycle of abusive mothers, and it's so wonderful. And like, breaking rules, can't do that.
Okay, so flashback-wise, how could this have been shortened? I feel like a lot of this could have been cut. A lot of it.
Seriously? Just like flashbacks, not like memory, like, what do you call it in Harry Potter? The teardrops?
Pensive.
The pensive. This is very pensive-like. It's not flashback-like.
Except, you know, the pensive only goes through 1 or 2 little flashbacks.
Yeah.
And they're short and they serve a good purpose.
That's how I would do this. is literally, you don't need the full scenes. All you need is the little blips of dialogue that kind of trail together and create that picture of what happened. You don't need 20 pages of how this went down.
It starts where they're walking around and they're friends and they see Creamolata in her dress.
A glimpse of the three of them walking around.
Cut that. Yeah, glimpse of, like, the three of them, like, talking about the tournament. Or, better yet, like... Yeah, a glimpse of that. Glimpse of the guy. You don't need it to be that long.
No.
I would have preferred... I'm confused on Creamy's motive. I thought that it was gonna be, like... Well, you think he's all that and that he's loyal. He's not. Because that's kind of what it looked like. That's what it looked like she was trying to do, but it's not established very well.
Cut the first time she attempts it and just do the second time she attempts it. Because there's no point in it being there twice if there were no fruits to bear from that first part.
Keep the baby scene, or at least most of it. Yeah. The one that, like, immediately afterwards where a person was crying in the corner. No, just cut that whole thing. You don't need that. We've already established that LaDonna didn't stand up for Percy. Yeah. That Percy should be pissed. That we already know that Creamy's pissed. You don't need the whole where they're, like, all buddy-buddy friends again right before the 7-7 tournament. Just be like...
Just cut that.
Have it, or, like, at least cut it where either give Creamy more of an opportunity to be like, don't leave, and instead of just be like, don't leave, oh, okay, I'll go with you. After we just saw her so pissed at her, all of a sudden they're buddy-buddy again. I don't like that.
I would also cut any of the present-day dialogue from those scenes. Because I can almost guarantee we're going to start this next chapter and they're going to be yelling at each other about, well, you did this, well, you did that, and completely recapping everything we just saw anyway. Which I feel like would be a better way to handle that if you do those quick flashbacks and then kind of do, like, 3-sentence explanation. Well, you betrayed me. Well, you betrayed me. And did that real quick. And it's, you don't need all of that detail.
I'm also very confused on, okay... Giant red herring that it's not Mr. De La Crème, it's Wingtip. I'm still confused then. Like, we knew he had to show up at some point rather than just be a one-off. But, like, I at this point I had just given up and had thought, like, yeah, he'll never show up again. But also, like...
Don't do him this way.
I don't like the fact that he's just like, oh, look, there's a baby! Okay.
Cool. Must be mine, I guess.
That's really cool and all, but we didn't see any reaction. None. We saw no reaction from him.
Like,
no surprise. Like, LaDonna didn't even know she was pregnant. I think he would be just as confused, be like,
why is there a baby on my doorstep?
Why is there a baby on my doorstep? I'm assuming there was a note like, this is LaDonna and yours, child. Oh, okay, I have a baby. There was, like, no surprise. None. And, like, you didn't need, like, half the scene where LaDonna, like, goes there and then leaves Creamy outside. Or just have
that
her...
very brief.
Yeah.
Like, they go in, she's like, oh, shoot, I should get some formula, blah, blah, blah.
Something, I don't know, just shorten it. Or just, I don't like, it's such a massive info dump.
It's such a mess.
It could have been a shortened. It really could have.
It should have just been the pensive, quick glimpses, the 3-sentence summary in this next chapter to help people connect the dots if they needed that. But
also, I still don't understand LaDonna's choice. Like, as you pointed out, it's her motherly instincts and, like, that like desire to see and be with her child as the reason she risks everything. Is willing to risk everything that she's ever wanted to go and be with her child. So she's willing to give it up because that's all she wants.
Guaranteed, if she, for some reason, had thought that Rayfei wasn't a good guy to start with, let's just pretend. Let's pretend Rayfei is not a good guy and this child got sent to live with them. She would have leapt that wall to rescue that child anyway. So why was she ever, like... not wanting to, sure, I'll live with them, psych. I'm going to take my baby and go live on my own.
Right. Like, again, why wouldn't you do that? if you thought he was bad, wouldn't you not want your baby to be with him? Which is what she doesn't. But then she's just like, just give him away to a stranger. Like,
yeah.
I thought you wanted to be with your child. It's like, I thought you wanted to be with your child.
I don't believe any of this.
This is just the only way that Tyra thought that she could get it to be Cetilda Ellen.
I guess that's why Cetilda L likes poetry and rhyming and stuff, is because
her mom liked to sing.
Yeah. Let's move on. We've got 4 quick pages to wrap up for tonight. And...
Again, Cetilda L really shouldn't even be here except to make it for this one reason.
Yeah. This is all pointless. This is no longer about Tookie, and I hate it. And I hated it when it was about Tookie.
It would have made more sense to follow a timeline of like, look, Tookie really is the Belladonna's child. This is why Belladonna broke the rules so that she could see her child again. And then it would have also been kind of cool if it was like, well, you broke the rules, and I cursed your child.
Yeah.
Know that she's supposed to be ugly.
Yep.
That would have made a lot more sense. Then you could also then could have played a card, like, obviously Creamy's not a good person, but supposing she was, you could have been like, Creamy's like, well, here, you have to stay here. This is your destiny. I will raise your child as my own. You could have played that card, which also would have been pretty cool. Yep. But Creamy's now just an awful person.
No, she's awful.
So I'm assuming Tookie is still Mr. and Mrs. De La Crème's child?
I guess.
I thought it would have been really cool for it to be the Belladonna.
Just flip. She's Cetilda L's child somehow. It's not possible in this timeline. But it's gonna happen.
Chapter 44. Wicked Couture. Cetilda L stared at the Belladonna, the expression on her face a mixture of shock and terror.
Yeah.
Her breath quickened into sharp, hyperventilating blasts.
You're such a smartass now, are you?
Out. Her chest collapsed with each exhale as though an invisible assailant was stabbing her with a dagger. Hurts, doesn't it? Creamy gave Cetilda L a predatory smile. LaDonna, now the Belladonna, is your mama. And she gave you up, traded you like a baseball card for face value. Listen to this. LaDonna sacrificed you, a tiny baby, for her own face, even though she can hardly see herself because of those nasty cataracts.
They're recapping it like I told you they would.
You gotta love the irony.
They're recapping it like I told you they would.
But I have green eyes. That baby in the flashback had gray eyes, Cetilda L said dazedly. Your eyes turned green later. Your eyes turned green later, the Belladonna said in a monotone. Her gaze lowered to the floor.
What is this?
A common occurrence with babies born with blue or gray eyes.
Duh.
Yep.
Why are we
Though I wasn't there to see it happen. Cetilda L's nostrils flared. Because you threw me away! She has a point.
She has
a very fair... I'm not going to say argument that just a very fair point. She has a right to be angry.
She has a very good right to be.
The Belladonna waved her hands helplessly. Because Cream-A-Lotta tricked me. No, you still chose to give up your child. As we've mentioned, you could have not lived with Wingtip, who you thought cheated on you. Yeah. You didn't have to stay with Ray Faye, but you could have kept your child if you had a thought.
But no.
Creamy rolled her eyes. Excuse me? What about how you ruined me, LaDonna? If it wasn't for you, I would never have trekked down that damn mountain. Oh, really? The Belladonna whirled around to face her. Even though you were my best friend, I always knew you were jealous, but now I know just how jealous.
What?
It wasn't just that I was royal. Oh, no. You couldn't stand that I had something else you didn't love. But that's because no one could ever love you, Cream-A-Lotta.
That's a fair point.
Your heart is black inside.
Yeah, she's right.
It's a wonder you ever married. How did you convince someone to spend the rest of his life with you with that nasty-ass face of yours?
You probably raped him and then pulled the pregnancy card. I'm just calling it.
Is that why you carry around this pathetic doll? So you have control over something, anything? So you have something to love you? Then she snatched Bellissima from Creamy's hands. Oh my gosh, Creamy loves she loves this doll.
How's everyone keep taking it from her?
Exactly. Give her Creamy screeched. She grabbed the Belladonna's shoulders, trying to shake Bellissima from her grasp. Clumps of dirt fell from Creamy and the doll to the pristine floor. When the Belladonna shoved her away, Creamy kicked her in the chest with the soiled sole of her hiking boot. Whoa, that's a high kick! The Belladonna staggered back, knocking over the flashback females. Persimmon stepped between the warring women. Cremalata, LaDonna, stop it! This isn't your concern, Percy! Creamy shrieked, shoving Persimmon hard and sending her reeling into the far wall. C. Tilda L ran to Persimmon and helped her up. Creamy lunged for the Belladonna once more. Just as their bodies clashed, a piercing scream rang through the air. Bellissima flew across the room. Droplets of something landed on Tookie's cheek. Then, dead silence.
What?
I don't know.
Oh no.
Creamy and the Belladonna huddled together for a moment as though locked in an intimate embrace. But then Tookie saw a sharp, shiny metal object piercing her mother's gut and protruding clear through her back.
Oh shoot!
The two women were skewered together with a spike from the Belladonna's dress. Oh my god!
I bet she's the nicest, gentlest, warmest person ever. Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
Back together again, Persimmon muttered from the sidelines, rubbing the lump on her head. Tookie wiped the moisture that had splashed her face, then looked at her hand. It was smeared with red. Blood. Creamy! She screeched. Blood gushed from Creamy's wound. The Belladonna's olive complexion had gone pale from shock. Creamy writhed desperately to free herself from the Belladonna's spike. Once she did, she spun around and staggered a few steps forward.
She did.
Her eyes rolled back. Reddish froth spilled from her mouth. Blood trickled out of her nose. After a moment, she crumpled to the ground in a heap. Oh my god! Mommy! Tookie tore across the floor, slid on the spilled blood, and dropped to her knees. Oh, Mommy! She whispered, cradling the woman's head in her arms. Creamy's eyes fluttered open and locked with her daughter's.
Not your mother.
What did you just call me? Mom, I mean, Creamy, Tookie corrected herself. Creamy nodded faintly, her face now ashen. Blood pulsed from her abdomen in time with the beat of her heart. Tookie could see her slipping away with each passing second. Creamy stared woozily at her daughter and then muttered, Tookie, followed by something barely audible. What was that, Creamy?
Yeah, I love you.
What was that, Creamy? Tookie asked gently, bringing her ear closer to her mother's lips. All the negativity she'd felt about her mother was instantly replaced by a fervent, protective love. Creamy may not have been the best mom in the world, but she was all Tookie had. If these were Creamy's last moments, Tookie wanted to be there for her. She wanted Creamy to know she loved her. Creamy swallowed, as if mustering up her strength to utter her last words. Then, through cracked lips, she spoke. Tookie, get me my... Bellissima.
Okay.
So she still doesn't care about Tookie. Wow, she's an awful person. Got what she deserved.
Unless Bellissima has healing powers and like she's gonna whatever's dripping from Bellissima, or is that just blood coming off Bellissima too?
I don't think there's blood on Bellissima.
She's just leaking something.
Let's see.
She like sailed through the air.
I think it's just
Was it
blood from her mom.
That's nice. Yeah. I hate this so much.
So is this still a young adult novel?
I mean, YA novels can get pretty dark.
Can.
I just hate the tonal shift.
Oh.
This tonal...
Not that YA novels can't be graphic or anything, because they can be.
What?
But it's been a complete tonal shift with no warning.
It's that this book there's this facade about it that says fantasy... glitter, fashion, models, rainbows kind of a thing. And so you get probably a lot of young girls reading this And
I'm thinking you're probably gonna have a lot of people that are younger than the intended audience.
Exactly. So you've got
is where I'm concerned with this.
If you have an avid reader under the age of 10, they would have picked this
up.
yeah,
they could handle this for sure. Or handle the reading level and the size of the book. Yes, like a younger reader could handle that for sure.
But this is not meant for them.
I don't think so.
That's what's so screwy about it is that while she probably had a big audience for America's Next Top Model that were in her age range, because of the way this is marketed, you probably got a lot of younger girls reading it, and then they're reading about...
I'm thinking you're like 13-year-old range. 12, 13 to like 16-ish is probably the majority of your readers, I would think, based on cover, how it's marketed.
Yeah,
the like utter absurdity of the names and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know, but
assuming this was a good book, wouldn't let anyone, at least my children, under the young adult age group to read it. I just feel like without at least having some conversation with them before.
I would definitely not recommend this to anyone like younger than high school.
Yeah, no one younger than high school.
Absolutely not.
And also just don't read it because it's just...
Well, yeah, like, assuming it was a good book but still had, like, these darker themes.
Yeah. But yeah,
like,
younger than high school, no.
Right. Because, yeah, YA novels can have really gory things. Like, one of my favorite books is Six of Crows, and Kaz freaking rips out someone's eyeball.
Well,
and it's described. But, you know, that book, it's not pulling any punches with that. It's marketed as, you've got this group of ruthless criminals...
Yeah.
They're going to act like criminals, especially, we know that Kaz is the most ruthless one. So you know what you're getting into before you start the book, that it's going to touch on, you're going to have these gorier graphic scenes. Right. But
I'm just thinking of the Jenna Moreci book I've been reading, Eve. And I think while her newest book is an adult novel, and Eve is still a YA novel, it is not half as dark as this is. And it does a way better job of balancing, like, here's our school life, and here's these monsters in it, and then here's our school life. And this stuff sickens me in the pit of my stomach, not just because it's bad, but because of the things that happen. There's nothing in that other YA novel that's as dark as this gets so quickly. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yep.
Very uncomfortable.
I think it's just the fact, too, that, like you mentioned, Eve, that those darker themes are just handled better.
They're handled
so much better. And, like, I'll bring up Six of Crows again because I love the book. It touches on some really dark themes, like the character Inej is sold into sex slavery at, like, 13 or 14. But it also, like, that topic is handled so carefully. And it plays a huge impact on her character, how other characters, some of them dance around this fact. It shapes her entire character, it matches the tone of the book, and the theme is handled so well, and later on, it serves a larger purpose in what her goals become, of essentially trying to stop that. Meanwhile, you have this, where we've seen Lizzie and C.L. are doing self-harm to themselves, where Lizzie, we haven't even come back to Lizzie, or have any sort of resolution for that. I don't think that was handled well.
It's handled terribly.
I think it's handled terribly. I think it blindsides the reader. If you weren't expecting that from the book, I think that's it's a huge blindside, and bad. I don't think it's handled as
if you're someone who is
sensitively as it could have been. That's not handled well. I don't think the thing with C.L.'s handled well. I think it's very like blasé about some of these darker topics in Modelland, and
blood and stabbing and cutting yourself and beating yourself with a whip and like whatever.
Creamy freaking murders people.
Yeah.
And eventually she gets what she deserves, but it just like again that's like it blindsides you in this. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming at all.
I don't like it at all. It's way too
That
dark
and-
for the Alice in Wonderland kind of hijinks that happen all around
That's
it.
that's a good way to think. It's the book Modelland gives off a very, like you said, Alice in Wonderland vibe, like very absurd but colorful and fun is what it looks like it's supposed to be. And it has these darker themes underneath, but I don't think those themes are handled well.
No.
Because I'm still confused about the message of the book.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
We've gotten so far away from Tookie at this point.
We're not even talking about Tookie anymore.
No, she's...
Doesn't matter.
This just there.
This is not Tookie the story. This is a story about Tilda.
Which is why it would have made a lot more sense if Tookie was the child.
Yeah.
It would have made a lot more sense to have this whole thing about it.
Yeah, but no, it's about Tilda.
Yep.
And subsequent books were probably about Tookie. That'll happen.
I don't like how it handles the themes. I'm so lost in what your moral of like the story is supposed to be. Is it still supposed to be about like everyone has their own inner beauty?
Way.
Because that gets undermined so many times in the writing itself.
I think that's the intended meaning, but there's no way you can pull that from what we've just read.
You've also, like, we're showing, like, shattered families, but at this, there's no repairing Tookies now. I thought that might be, like, one of the themes is try to make people understand, which I don't necessarily think that that's the best thing in Tookie's case anyway, but now there's no resolution for that. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm so lost with this book, what is supposed to be going on. I still think that this isn't the climax. I still think, well,
I don't know. I think we might have just hit it. I think the revelation with Tilda L and the fact that Creamy's dad is the supposed climax that Tyra intended.
I'll still argue that this isn't the climax. I will still argue that the chase scene with Tilda L chasing Tookie is the climax because Tookie's your main character, with her friends as the other main characters, being directly chased and opposed by a villain. This part of the story that I think Tyra wants to be the climax, it's focused on Tilda L. Tookie is just there and listening, and it affects her mother. But most of the story is about Tilda L and Belladonna and Creamy. It's not about our main characters.
Which is weird.
That's a weird thing to have for a climax of a book, especially when there has been a revelation, but it's not about the main character themselves. It's not about Tookie.
No.
So I still will say that the actual climax of this book is where Tookie is being chased and you have the highest stakes, and she comes to this realization about Tilda L. Tookie herself has this realization, not just, oh, I guess this is Tilda L was the baby. No, because in the other thing that I think is the climax, Tookie realizes that she doesn't want to stay in Modelland, that she had been wrong about Tilda L. So she shifts her own thinking. I don't think you get that in this whole part, which I still think is all falling action as you just get this info dump.
If this were Tilda L the novel, that would have been our climax, but I agree that the climax for Tookie
if it was
that other
through
moment.
Tilda L's eyes.
It might as well have been. It should have been at this point.
Because this is kind of like Tilda L's own whole, like, separate thing that concerns her.
All these scenes should have been in, like, a Tilda L prequel. And we should have been worried about Tookie and whatever else going on at the 7-7 tournament, and just that Creamy showed up and resolving that, and not that.
What the hell is going to happen in the last couple chapters?
What the hell's happening
Creamy's
to
dying
Tilda
on the
L?
floor. We still don't know if Tookie really is Mr. De La Crème's child, how that all plays into effect.
Yeah. Why is there an argument about that?
Creamy is just over the top evil. Just like, she's just over the top a bad person. But, like, I'm confused on her character's motives. Yeah, very confused about those.
They don't really give us any. We're not going to get any result for that.
Again, it would have made so much sense to have Creamy, like, testing Rayfei's loyalty to LaDonna, which is what I thought it was. But that's never established.
She straight up sexually assaults him.
Yeah, she straight up then sexually assaults him.
Twice.
Twice. And then, but then, like, and what she says to LaDonna makes it sound like, oh, I was kind of just trying to prove a point. Look, he's probably fooling around with a bunch of other people. But then later on, she's like, we should share. It's like, what?
It's like, that's not
what are you actually trying to do? I'm assuming that's not what her
It's got to be just her trying to hurt her friend.
At that point, yes. I think
because she feels betrayed, so she's got to hurt her in some way now. But I don't see any other. It isn't explained well enough, her motives.
Yeah, it's this info dump is just awful.
It's the worst. Well, we got 4 more chapters to go, which we're gonna wrap into one big old finale and get it done. The last 40 pages in one shot. So make sure you comment down below and like and subscribe and let us know how you guys are feeling about finishing up this book.
We're really excited to finish this book.
We're really grateful, and the library is going to love having their book back. And we're going to love giving it back to them and never looking at it again. See you guys next time. Bye!